And if I told you that your reality has already changed, but you haven't noticed it yet? It seems impossible, but it is not. The truth is that the transition to the fifth dimension is not a distant event or something that only happens with monks meditating at the top of the mountains. It is happening now, and you may be feeling the signs without even realizing it. That strange feeling that time is accelerated or sometimes stopping. The loss of interest in certain people and conversations that once made sense. And the sudden chills, the bizarre coincidences, the changes in priorities. None of this is random. Many think this change will be like a great cosmic spectacle, but reality is much more subtle, and at the same time, powerful. The transition is internal, and those who are attentive have realized that something different is in the air. You may have noticed that your intuition is stronger, that some synchronicities seem magical, or that certain places and people simply no longer vibrate as before. This is not an error, it is an adjustment. Your spiritual awakening has begun, and understanding these signs can change everything. If you feel you are more sensitive, your perception of the world is different, or that your search for purpose has increased, then this content is for you. Let's explore the 7 signs together that you are already in the fifth dimension, and how to interpret this new reality that is drawn before your eyes. Pay attention, because after you see it, there is no return. There are times when time seems to play with our perception. A whole day can fly like a blink of an eye, while a few hours drag themselves like they were never ending. This is one of the first signs of the transition to the fifth dimension. Expanded consciousness breaks with the idea of linear time, and the mind begins to operate in a universal flow where past, present, and future seem to intertwine. Have you noticed how some memories seem more vivid than recent events? Or how do you seem to have happened before? This is indicative that its vibrational frequency is adjusting to a new multidimensional reality. With this change of perception, some people find it difficult to get organized. Marking appointments, following rigid routines, or even remembering dates can become a challenge. This is because the mind is more connected to nonlinear time, where the enhanced intuition dictates the rhythm of experiences. This is why you often feel that you should act now, without an apparent logical reason. And when it follows this feeling, it finds that everything fits perfectly, as if the universe had orchestrated that moment. This is one of the first physical symptoms of the transition, a gradual disconnection of chronological time. One way to adapt to this new consciousness is to stop fighting the clock and get into the flow. Instead of holding on to conventional time, try synchronizing your activities with your spiritual energy. Do you know those moments when you feel a sudden impulse to create, learn, or rest? Trust them. If your high vibration calls for introspection, respect. If you ask for action, go ahead. Great thinkers like Nikola Tesla and Leonardo da Vinci already operated in this universal flow, creating only when the right energy was present. And when you start aligning yourself with this principle, you realize that life becomes lighter and some connections begin to change. Something curious begins to happen. Certain conversations that once seemed interesting now sound empty. The enthusiasm for certain groups dissipates, and that need to always be surrounded by people give rise to a deep desire of solitude. This does not mean that something is wrong with you, but that your vibrational frequency is changing. When consciousness expands, it is natural for some connections to lose its meaning. Energy social distance is not a rational choice, but a consequence of inner transformation. You simply no longer fit certain circles, and force exhausting interactions only generates more discomfort. This removal may seem lonely at first, but soon you realize that it is an alignment process. It's like tuning a radio station. When your vibration rises, certain old frequencies are no longer compatible. Have you noticed how suddenly you find new people who share ideas similar to yours? How can casual conversations contain synchronicities that look like direct messages to you? This is because, when changing your spiritual energy, you attract people who vibrate in the same tune. What was previously kept for convenience or habit now gives room for genuine and significant connections. To better deal with this change of perception, it is essential to accept universal flow and understand that not all relationships are eternal. Some people come into their lives to teach something, and others come out when the lesson has already been learned. If you feel the need to get away from environments that suck your energy, respect this call. If you want to deepen your new connections, look for spaces where your new consciousness is welcome. Meditation groups, spiritual retreats, or even outdoor encounters can be excellent ways to find your tribe. And with this opening, your improved intuition will begin to guide you more clearly. Suddenly you know things before they happen. A subtle feeling, unexpected bolt, or even a premonitory dream begin to be part of your daily life. This is no coincidence, but a clear sign that your intuition is improving. By raising your vibrational frequency, you get information beyond the conventional senses. Small internal warnings arise, indicating which paths to follow and which one avoids. And the most curious? When you trust these perceptions, you realize that everything fits perfectly, as if multidimensional reality is revealing your secrets little by little. Often, this change of perception manifests itself through synchronicities. You think of someone and, a few minutes later, that person sends a message. You are looking for an answer and out of nowhere comes across a book, a conversation, or even a song that brings exactly what you needed to hear. It is as if the universe is sending constant signs, guiding you by the universal flow of life. However, for this communication to be clearer, it is essential to learn to silence mental noise. After all, intuition does not scream, she whispers. And to hear it, you need to create moments of inner connection. A simple way to strengthen this ability is to practice active listening to your own body and emotions. Before you make a decision, close your eyes and ask yourself, does this choice bring peace or restlessness? Observe the answer without rationalizing. Also, techniques such as intuitive writing, where you write down everything that comes to mind without filter, help bring messages from the unconscious to the conscious. Great visionaries like Steve Jobs and Einstein deeply trusted this subtle intelligence, often attributing their discoveries to insights that arose out of nowhere. But was it really out of nowhere? Or were they just tuned to something bigger? The body never lies. When spiritual energy adjusts to new frequencies, it responds in unexpected ways. Ants, head pressure, sudden chills, or even tiredness that seems to have no explanation can be clear signals from the transition to the fifth dimension. These sensations do not indicate disease, but a deep process of energy recalibration. After all, when consciousness expands, physical structure also needs to adapt. Have you noticed that, in a few days, sleep seems insufficient, while in others you wake up with a completely renewed energy? This is because your body is learning to operate in a new vibration. In addition to physical sensations, natural habits also begin to change. Food transforms, and certain foods that once seemed harmless are causing discomfort. This is because the body rejects what is not aligned with its high vibration. Some people feel an instinctive need to consume more fruits, vegetables, and water, while others may strive without effort from alcohol or heavy foods. It is not about following rigid rules, but listening to what your own body is asking. Enhanced intuition extends even to nutrition, guiding choices that support this new state of energy balance. To soften these physical symptoms of the transition, some practices can help. Immersion baths with coarse salt assist in the release of dense energies, while connection with nature helps stabilize the new vibrational frequency. Peeling barefoot on the earth, meditating at the sunrise, or simply breathing deeply outdoors can bring immediate relief. Conscious breathing techniques such as diaphragmatic breathing also help to rebalance energy. The important thing is to remember that these signs are not a problem, but an invitation to take care of the body more carefully. And as the inner transformation advances, the priorities begin to change. Suddenly, what once seemed essential loses its brightness completely. The desire for status, external recognition and material goods begins to give way to something much deeper, the search for authenticity, inner peace and purpose. This change of perception does not happen by chance. With the elevation of consciousness, it is impossible to continue investing energy in things that do not nourish the soul. Have you noticed how some achievements that once seemed so important now seem superficial? This is because your high vibration is reconfiguring your priorities, aligning your life to what really makes sense to its essence. Many people, when going through this inner transformation, feel an uncontrollable boost of simplifying their lives. This can manifest itself in small attitudes, such as detachment from accumulated clothes and objects, or in larger decisions, such as changing careers or moving away from environments that drain energy. This is the essence of spiritual awakening, realizing that happiness is no longer in having more. Great spiritual masters have always taught this, but now, more than ever, this truth becomes a real experience. Have you ever felt this desire to leave behind everything that no longer resonates with who you are becoming? To make this transition more fluid, it is worth reflecting on where your energy is being invested. Do a simple exercise. Write down your main daily concerns and question if they really matter in the long run. Are you living on autopilot or creating the life you really want? Books like Eckhart Tolle's Power of Agora, they can help in this process, bringing valuable insights on how to live with more presence and meaning. And as these changes happen, something amazing reveals, a deeper connection with nature comes as an unavoidable so-called. The breeze touching the face, the sound of the leaves dancing in the wind, the corner of the birds echoing in silence. Suddenly, these small details gain a different meaning. Nature is no longer just a scenario and becomes a living, pulsating presence, capable of balance its spiritual energy instantly. This call is not random. When consciousness expands, the connection with the natural world intensifies. The high vibration of the earth, the trees, and the rivers begins to resonate inside you, bringing a peace that no artificial distraction can offer. Have you noticed how to be in contact with nature relieves the mind and renews the spirit? This is not psychological, but energetic. Many begin to feel an almost instinctive need to spend more time outdoors, barefoot in the grass, or simply observe the sky without haste. And this change of perception is not just a whim, it is a vibrational adjustment. Ancestral cultures have always known this. Indians, for example, understood that each natural element has their own frequency, capable of restoring our energy balance. Today, science proves that practices such as land therapy, where it is barefoot on earth, reduces inflammation and balances the bioelectricity of the body. It is not magic, it is synchronicity between you and the universal flow. If you want to deepen this connection, try creating daily moments of interaction with nature. It can be simple, such as having tea in the moonlight, watching the clouds moving or embracing a tree. Yes, it makes a difference. Gardens, beaches, waterfalls. Any natural environment can serve as a portal for this new consciousness. And the more you open to this tune, the more you realize that the events of your life seem to happen almost magically. It all starts to fit as if the universe is guiding you. Have you ever been thinking of someone and, minutes later, does that person send you a message? Or to be looking for an answer and, out of nowhere, a book, a conversation or even a sign on the street bring exactly what you needed? These coincidences are not random, they are synchronicities. When your high vibration aligns with universal flow, everything seems to conspire to your advantage. Multidimensional reality begins to manifest itself evidently, proving that life is not a sequence of disconnected events, but a tangle of signs and connections that guide us at the right time. These synchronized events become more frequent as your consciousness expands. What before seemed chance now reveals itself as a direct communication of the universe. You realize that the more your intuition is improved, the more the right opportunities appear in your way. An unexpected encounter can open doors that you would never imagine. A random video may contain the exact message you needed to hear. It all flows naturally, effortlessly, as if an invisible force was organizing every detail of your journey. And in fact, it is. To better enjoy these synchronics, it is essential to be aware and receptive. Instead of ignoring these chances, you look at them with curiosity. Try annotating events that seem strangely aligned. You will see a standard emerge. Great minds like Carl Jung have already studied this phenomenon, and it is not the result of imagination, but of the connection with the new consciousness. The question that remains is, are you paying attention to the signs that the universe has sent? Because they are there, hoping that you notice them. Now that you know the signs of the transition to the fifth dimension, the question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you ignore and keep living on autopilot, or start observing the standards, listening to your intuition and aligning yourself with universal flow? The change is already happening, whether you notice or not. The difference is that those who understand this process can navigate it more clearly, while those who resist feel everything like chaos and confusion. Which group do you want to be in? The physical symptoms of the transition, synchronicities, change of perception. All of this are signs that you are awakening to a new consciousness. But awakening is not enough, it is necessary to act. How can you incorporate this knowledge into your life? What needs to change in your routine, in your habits, your choices? Perhaps it is time to get away from certain energies, connect more with nature, or simply trust your intuition more. One thing is certain, after seeing the signs, you will never see reality the same way. If this content made sense to you, don't stop here. Continue this journey of self-knowledge and vibrational elevation. Subscribe to the channel, enable notifications, and stay on top of more content that will help you understand, deepen, and live this new multidimensional reality. After all, the change has started, and you're part of it.